Imagine a book of pure emotion. A book with all the feels. Mr. Lovenstein invites you to experience Feelings. The perfect book for your way of life. Feel feelings like joy.
Froggy, so cool.
I'm cool.
Validation.
Oh, that's good shit.
And who could forget anxiety?
Okay, back to it.
This graphic novel collects the webcomic that has won the hearts of millions. And no other collection gives you feelings like feelings.
To experience feelings, visit our Kickstarter page. Rush delivery not available. Pledge now.
Boom, there you go. That was a trailer for Mr. Lovenstein Presents Feelings from JL Westover, aka Justin. You see him on the screen right now. The digital version of this book is available right now on all platforms, Google Play, all the things. And the hardcover version will be hitting stores on October 1st. Go cop it. Get crushed like my soul was after I read this, but it's all good. We need to feel our feelings. Some of us just hide it, and Justin just delivers every time with his work. How are you today, Justin?
I'm feeling great, Kuya. I'm feeling great.
I love it.
Asking. How you doing?
Sending all the vibes, man. This is just
right on. Yeah.
mood type material, man, and you set it off every time. I was checking out the Twitters, the IGs, gave you all the follows. And just everyone vibes off of this. The Kickstarter got funded in less than 2 hours because we all want this kind of content. What is the feelings now, for like right now, with this particular book getting out there and into the hands of the public, and just it's your work, man, and the people appreciate it. But just even more, I think it gets people when, especially in the hard book forms, people, right. I guess the older generation that aren't into much online stuff, you've got a target market with the online generation, but then it's a whole nother market when it's, in a book form. What are the vibes right now with it hitting people?
It's surreal. It takes so long to put a book out that it almost feels like it's always off on the horizon, actually, like it hitting stores and having actually in people's hands. Because, we did the Kickstarter like last year in summertime. So it's been over a year. And then just now within like less than 2 weeks, it's people are going to be reading it. And it's weird because I don't do this too often. I don't put out that many books. And, so often my books, my comics reside in the digital realm online. And it's rare to see them in book form and physical form. Like, you can actually like touch and feel my comics, which is its own experience.
It's surreal. It's crazy. As a creative as well, I write and publish comic books. It's just a different kind of feeling, right? And that different kind of audience. How have you gotten used to that, from the previous book and now with this one coming? Like, how are you feeling in your head, or like, what is it when you see that? If you can, if there's anything more to add to that. I know you kind of touched upon that already, but just the vibes. Like, do you get yourself ready for that moment, and then like going to bookstores and doing signings, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost more serene when we get to this point, because like I said, like the how long the production time takes, because like during the Kickstarter, it's like the exact opposite, and it's just so intense and so like such a grind, like every day, because it's such a condensed. It's weird. You have this really condensed window, like 30 days, and you're just working around the clock and stressing out and trying to make a number go up, and then it ends, and then you're just like, oh, okay, now I actually have to spend the next year plus, delivering on this. But it's wonderful. I feel very fortunate that I can put a book out. It's funny, like, you don't really need a book these days. Like you said, it's really like most young people don't need a book per se, but people see it as kind of like a badge of honor, or like showing how like you're legitimate, like, oh, you have a book now, so now we can take you seriously, because before you were just putting funny pictures on the internet. Like, anybody can do that, but only the rare few can make a book, even though like which is not true. Like nowadays, like truly anybody could make a book if they wanted, but it is a little bit validating for sure.
I love that. Love that for you, dude. Again, I'm a feelings guy, and this book is so much up my alley and just amazing. I want to take it back because it takes a lot for us to show those inner sides and aspects of ourselves. I read that, this kind of came while you were in college, in the dorm.
Yes.
Can you tell me, what were you feeling at the time? What was going on with a young Justin Westover, and that made him kind of capture that and encapsulate that into an art form and kind of tell these stories?
Well, like the main driver back then was just I just want to make people laugh, as simple as that is. I mean, that's still mainly the goal.
Yeah.
Like I'd been making comics since I was like, little, just trying to make my friends laugh with them. And I got really hooked on webcomics in high school. So when I got into college, I finally was like, you know what? All I need is a website. Once I have that, I'm golden. I can make my own webcomic. And it was just kind of exciting at the time because this was back in 2010, a little more rare to, like, social media was pretty fresh and new. When I started, Instagram didn't exist, and it was just like kind of surreal
back then.
Yeah, so DeviantArt, MySpace was still like duking it out with Facebook, and just to like put something out and then like have strangers read it was its own experience, and like exciting and scary, and for like every like 10 people who are like, oh, it's pretty good, you get that one hater. It's like, this sucks. And back then they were probably right, but it did motivate me, like, what, I'll show you. And that's kind of what I've been doing for the last 14 years, is showing them. But yeah, I just had no clue what I was doing. Like, I would print out my comic and whatever newest one I just put out and tape it to like the outside of my dorm room door, just hoping like people walking past my room would read it and be like, oh, this is good. Maybe I'll follow this guy online. And very rarely anybody commented on it, but the janitor there was like, hey man, I've been seeing your comics on your door. It's good stuff. It's like, all right, that's all I need. As long as a janitor likes it, I'm happy.
Validation, just a little bit of validation makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, just as good as putting a book out, really.
So what's your process on creating strips? Do you have like sessions where you sit down? I'm curious, like, you work so much into 4 panels, to figure out what to put into that to get that point across so simply is a lot of hard work. A lot of people think just, it's so simple because of what they're seeing, but there's so much depth to that as a writer, as a creative. I'm curious your process on, this and all the other projects you've done with Lovenstein.
Yeah. It's good that you bring up this, like this, it's always like these little 3-4 panel things, because it does make it look simple. In some ways it is, but like there is like a real challenge to coming up with an idea and then trying to condense that down as concisely as you possibly can. Not only because like I'm posting this on like websites and platforms where you're rewarded if people can consume it in like 10 seconds, but also I think humor hits harder. The more concise you are, like the old phrase, like brevity is the soul of wit. It's absolutely true. So yeah, like part of the like writing process is taking that initial idea and just like whittling it down to like its barest elements. But there's nothing magical about my process. It's just generating a ton of ideas. Like sometimes I'll slate out a day and just come up with as many ideas as possible, write them all down. Like I tell people, like my brain is always in idea mode. If I'm going for walks, if I'm hanging out with friends, if I'm reading something, and I write it down. If it's bad, most are bad. But then I go back through and, and I see like, well, okay, what could I work with? And that's kind of the fun of it, is then, like, okay, is this the idea I want? And then I doodle that out and I look at it and I go, is this workable? Can I make it, like I said, work in 4 panels? And then it's just fine tuning, polishing. And then, yeah, the end product is something that pops up in your feed. You read it in 10 to 15 seconds and you scroll on.
But it's magical, man. It's magical.
Yeah, it's a magical 10, 15 seconds.
Are you all digital, or because I'm an old school head? You know, I still have 11 by 17 pieces of paper over here, blue line. You know, all of that. How do you work?
So I have I start everything with a little notepad I got, and I mostly write my ideas down by hand, because I think there's like kind of a physical brain connection that's good to make versus typing it on like a Windows doc, you know. And then once I like what I got, I do always do like a physical sketch like of the comic, just trying to figure out, you know, how I want it laid out, where do I want the text and all that boring stuff. And then when I'm happy with that, then it switches all over to digital. I got a big old graphics tablet I draw on with basically like a tablet stylus pen thingy.
Awesome.
And then it just I finish it up and I can just immediately send it off to the internet.
Nice. I'm also an original art collector too, so it's cool to know that there's still people creating original art and we can pick it up. Do you ever sell your original pieces to the books?
I've never done that. No. I've seen other people do that.
Bucket loads of money.
I'm too precious about. Yeah, I know. They're kind of like my babies, and
I know, right?
Maybe down the road, and because I've just got like stacks and stacks and stacks of like notebooks and sketchbooks. But yeah, like a buddy of mine, he does extra fabulous comics. I helped him write like a comic once, and one day he's like surprised me and gave me like the because he always does it physically first and then scans it and traces over it digitally. And I was like, oh my God, this is so precious. Like, thank you. Like, there's something very cool about like this thing you've seen like online all this time. Like, this was how it started. It was like on this piece of paper.
Yeah. So it's very amazing kind of connection, especially with artists that we idolize and everything. So in regards to the work, everybody, again, Mr. Lovenstein Presents Feelings from JL Westover is available right now on digital, Google Play. Go check it out. And then the hard book will be available on Tuesday, October 1st. Cop it. You're not going to be disappointed. Was there anything in particular within this collection of the webcomic that, you know, really just any personal things? All of it's personal, but like, was there any like specific things that actually made you feel a little bit touched and maybe shed a tear, or maybe encapsulated from something you experienced, a moment? You know, can we get even deeper with your feelings, Justin?
Yeah. There was a real evolution with this book where, you know, there's definitely comics I've made that I'm really tapping deep inside, you know, like my raw feelings on things. You know, like we've all had our bouts of depression, sadness, or, you know, the opposite, like just manic glee, and, you know, the full spectrum. And I thought I'd really like delve the depths as comfortable as I could, you know, because you always kind of feel like you're exposing yourself when you put it into such a public form. But what really changed, especially with this hardcover copy coming out, was after the Kickstarter, I sadly had a very close friend pass away unexpectedly, and he had a hand in Mr. Lovenstein. Like, he built my website for me, like I was saying earlier. And I wanted to honor him and let my audience know like how important he was. So I had done a comic, you know, in honor of him, and I asked my publishers like right before the book was going to go out, like, hey, can I dedicate the book to him, and can I put this comic in? And there's a foreword in the book where I talk about, my experience making the book, and then I go on to, talk about my friend. And that was really important. I mean, that's what makes this book, I think, one of the more special things I've ever done. It's maybe the rawest I've ever been. And of course it's in a book called Feelings, so it's appropriate.
Definitely. Yeah. And rest in peace and love, all of that. Bro, I'm an empath. I started it started hitting me again. Like, I love that. And do you get that input? And how is that when you get that? Because it's so therapeutic, because we all feel the same, and we all get that. So to hear that shared sense that we're not alone in these feelings is just so beautiful. And so
that's a big motivator for me.
Thank you, Justin. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's therapeutic to make it too, and it's cathartic. And I mean, that's why I recommend to people to make their own art. And if you're into comics, make your own comics, because thing I've learned over the years is, like, I'll put something out and be like, is anybody like really going to resonate with this? Is this like something that's common enough? And I put it out, and then there's this thousands of people are like, oh my God, like, I feel this way too. I'm not alone. And it's just a nice thing to bond over, really.
Definitely, man. And yeah, like I said, thank you, because sometimes when it's hard, you can like pull a book together, like your project, this book specifically. Like, if you can't say it yourself, when it's hard for you to say it yourself, you can like show this and like, this is how I'm feeling. And that really connects, because I've had other experiences with probably your work. I would say that it's just, you can just show that through this artwork and your art form. And it's just, it's so touching and it's so impactful in ways when you can't say it for yourself.
Exactly.
Thank you again for your time, my friend. Again,
thank you. Thanks for having me.
This should be a coffee table book that everyone should pick up. Yeah. Just have out there. And when you're having that difficulty expressing it,
bathroom.
Hell yeah. Dude, it is an honor and a pleasure, man, to speak with you. Again, this is the kind of work that, as a creative, you want to, or you yearn to do and put out. And I love that for you, and I love that it's here again. And I'll say it for the rest of the people that aren't talking to you right now. Thank you. What do you want to tell to sign off about this? Are there any appearances you have coming up that we can tell people? I'm going to have all of your links in the description below so people can cop this book and also follow you, support you. Let's close out with that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me on, Kuya. You're wonderful. I like the energy you bring. You got good vibes for sure. So I appreciate that. And I actually will be doing some stuff later this year. I don't do a lot of cons, but I'll be doing NC Comic Con in my home state here, November 9th. And then for the first time ever, I'm going to the United Kingdom, doing my first con abroad over at Thought Bubble, Northern England. That'll be the following weekend, November 16th. And I will be selling both my books, Failure and Feelings, at these. And then you can meet me in person and shake my sweaty hand, and I can sign it for you. And yeah, I look forward to it. So yeah. Thanks for letting me put the word out.
Oh, most definitely, man. Again, great work. Thank you. It's the stuff that we as creatives strive to do, and you are creating a great piece of work here. And everybody, Mr. Lovenstein on all things, right? Is the handles, I think, on Instagram, Twitter.
Pretty easy to find me as long as you can spell it.
I'll have the links in the description below. Y'all go show love to Justin. JL Westover, Mr. Lovenstein Presents. Feelings is available right now on all digital platforms and in hardcover Tuesday, October 1st in comic bookstores, everywhere. Go cop it, and then go see him at Thought Bubble and North Carolina Comic Con, NC Comic Con. Have him sign it. Yep. You'll be happy you did, and say thank you, because this is just great work, man. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Definitely. Everybody, Justin Westover, your boy Kuya P. Nerds rule the world. We're out of here. Showing our love, showing our feelings. We're out. There you go. recording. Here we go. In a 1, 2, 3.